This house track just hit 5,000 plays in 4 weeks on Spotify. No label, no promo team, just me and a small ad budget and some smart production moves. In this video, I'll break down exactly how I made the track, from sound design to the structure, so you can level up your own tracks and actually reach listeners. Let's dive in. Yo, okay, sweet. Let's get into it. So, first thing, I'll just play the intro and then we'll go over it. So right off the bat, we have this intro reverse swells into the synths. So take a listen. And we have a couple of those with some sound effects. The sound effects was a bunch of different sounds that I bounced into one group just to consolidate everything. But there's like a sweep and an impact. And then this synth. And how I made that is I took this synth, I actually just took one part of it, and then what I did was took a reverb and increased the decay time, and then we resample it to a new track. In audio, and then resample. And then we get this really cool reverb tail. And once we have that, we can chop it up and then reverse it. Boom, like that. And then probably curve it in like this. So to get it to flutter even more, what I did was add an LFO, which makes this cool shape, but we have to map it to our gain to get it to actually automate anything. But if we do that, it's going to be super dramatic. So we just bring the depth down and we get this. And it creates that wave effect, but we can increase the rate. So it will kind of bounce. And then actually what I'm doing on this one is I'm creating the rate to automate over time. And then I kind of just adjusted it to however I liked. In the intro, we also have like these vocals. So that one's cool. And then we have another vocal on top of that. And then these intro strings. And another layer. Oops, I still have the reverb. So that's fun. And then right after 4 bars, we get into the synth. And that just kind of makes your head bob because we've got it side changed pretty heavily. And I usually just use Kickstart with that. So Kickstart is a good ducking plugin. And I probably, for this one, am doing it pretty hard. Like, maybe like this. And then we got some string atmosphere to just fill up that top end with some reverb and an auto filter. And then we've got our kick with a ton of processing. So we've got drum buzz, EQ, automating it over time. So before we get into like our drop here, we have the kick kind of automating up. So I'll show you what that I mean by that. And that just allows the kick to kind of come in more powerful at that drop if we automate it up like that. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Then some compression on it, just so it fits in the mix a little bit better. Here we've got hi-hats, or these are snaps, and then this tambourine coming in over time. And then the snare build. So we'll listen to all of it in context here. All right, and then I forgot to mention, so we do have a bass, just like a art bass, so it's going dun 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 dun, kind of like funky town vibes. And then we have this vocal. And then, so that's just the dry vocal, but behind that vocal, there's like a vocal with delay and echo and reverb. And then I'm sidechaining that, so the main vocal kind of takes precedence, or is like more overpowering than this vocal. And so if we play both of them, and what the sidechain is doing is just making sure that this vocal ducks out when that main vocal is playing. So the main vocal, or this top vocal, is very clear in the track. Besides that, we do have like some little transitional sounds. So that's transitioning into this vocal, like this. And then we do that again. And then we have this missing you sound with a ton of processing. Not a ton, but it has little Alter Boy, OTT, Soothe, and Reverb. And then we have some little effects before we get into that drop. Pretty subtle, but over time they can add a lot of effects. And then we have our kind of first drop, or like pre-drop type section. So in terms of arrangement, there's like this pre-drop before we get into like the kick and groove, the main groove. So we kind of take out the drums, and then we have this cool vocal sound. And what that is just like this vocal here sampled into Ableton sampler and then kind of faded around, so it creates that effect. And then we get in a group. So that's kind of a cool sound design. And then, there's also like some compression, EQ, and reverb on that too. And then on top of that, we have decapitator, glue compression just to tame it a little bit, because without that decapitator, it's like pretty subtle, so you don't really notice it. But decapitator actually makes a pretty big difference here. And that just gives it some saturation, so it actually cuts through, and you can hear it pretty well. Then we get into this section, which is a little more chill, backed with this main kind of hook hum. But it's like the echoey reverbed version, not like the dry version. And then we have these bells come in, which are really subtle, but you can hear them a little more here. And then also like this other vocal sample that's super subtle, but if you listen closely, it kind of makes a big difference. Because without it, and with it, it kind of just fills up space in this chill section. We got some grass movement to just keep it interesting, and this main synth that we have coming at the drop. It creates a lot of movement for that. And then as we keep it moving, this section is like pretty chill, but then this section, it starts to pick back up. This synth is kind of cool. It's just a serum effect that normal saw wave, but we're automating the cutoff with this cool serum 2 LFO effect. Gives it some nice movement. The art bass comes back. And then we have the sitar at this section. And then here we chopped up the vocal to like keep it moving, and this is kind of fun. And then we get into this breakbeat effect, which is I also have a flanger on it, so it's kind of like creating this cool flanger effect that you hear. Super subtle, but kind of adds some texture to this drum break. And then later on, we also have this corpus effect that creates some cool texture. I should just show you that now. And I'm just like, what I did is I just recorded me dragging this little thing around. And that was kind of fun to add like some texture to this breakbeat. I think I messed it up though, just now. All right, then this section is kind of like a drop-off build, tonal build, like a tease for the drop. So I'll play it. No, I'm at this section.
Missing you.
So what we're doing here is we've got this grand piano doing like chords with a synth layered on top of that. Some sound effects, and then that's synth again. And then we have these snare builds. And they're automating, washing out, and then frequency shifters. So they're really lifting up. We also have like ocean waves that are very subtle. And then crowd noise. Just building that tension. And then I should mention I also on this group, I'm automating the width, so it's like the stereo field is going in, so it's like becoming more mono, and then on the drop it goes back to its like full width, so it just like makes the final release here a little more impactful.
Missing you. Missing you.
So then the final drop, we have this synth. String comes back in. And then our drums with the kick. String. Synth. The sub bass. And the vocal again. Omnisphere. So yeah, that's about it. If this was helpful, drop a like in the comments. Let me know if there's anything I didn't go over. Feel free to let me know, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.